it's the weeknight and we're not sure what to make, but you're definitely tired of eating the same thing day in and day out. You're just like over it. No worries, because your girl Cooking with Tammy got you. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious French onion chicken meatball pasta recipe. When I tell you, that's a mouthful. But anyway, let's get to cooking. First thing you want to do is finally mince up some fresh garlic. Now, however, if you don't have fresh garlic on hand, we just got to use what we got. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, we're going to get in there. We're going to refine this garlic on down. Break it down as small as possible, simply because we want to get all of those delicious flavors that's locked into the garlic. We're also going to need some parsley. Doesn't matter if you use flat leaf parsley or curly Italian parsley. We're going to remove the parsley from the stems. Just going to give it a rough chop as well. But once we're done, we're going to break it down even more. We're going to need the parsley not only for garnish, but we're also going to add some to our chicken meatballs. And trust me, when I tell you the parsley bits is going to stand out in the meatballs, it's definitely going to stand out and make it look really pretty. I'm going to be using 1 pound of ground chicken. However, substitute and use whatever ground meat you prefer. We're going to combine both salt and pepper. Once we're done, we're going to add it to our ground meat. Add a good amount, but not too much, of course. Once we're done, we're going to add our finely chopped parsley, along with some of our garlic bits, followed by breadcrumbs. For this particular recipe, I'm going to be using Italian style breadcrumbs. We're going to beat our egg, and then we're going to add it to the mix as well. Once we're done, we're going to add some cheese. Add a good amount of Gruyere cheese. We're going to get in there. We're going to mix it on up really good. Fold all of the ingredients into the ground meat. Just fold it on in. Quick tip, right? How do we know if we added enough breadcrumbs to the meat? Simply, if you're able to take the meat apart and mold it without any problem, then you've added enough breadcrumbs. Take a small amount of the mixture, place it in the palm of your hand, and just roll it like a ball. Once you're done, you're going to set it onto your baking sheet. As you can see, the baking sheet is a little shiny. That's because I went ahead and added some oil to the baking sheet, simply because I don't want these meatballs to stick. We're just going to go ahead, keep repeating the same process. Lay the meatballs down in a single line. And at this point in time, our oven should also be preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and allow them to bake on up for about 20 to 25 minutes. Using a hot cast iron skillet, of course, use whatever skillet you have. We're going to add some butter. A question that I get a lot is, Tammy, are you using salted butter or unsalted butter? It all depends. If I'm going to be using salted butter, I'm going to scale back on some of the salt that I use within the recipe. However, if I'm going to be using, let's say, unsalted butter, then I'm going to add a pinch more of seasoning to, let's say, the meat, if that makes sense. We're going to allow the butter to melt all the way down. Once we're done, we're going to introduce our onions. Now, for this particular recipe, we're going to need a ton of onions, all right? Simply because once these onions caramelize and break down, they're going to pretty much break down into nothing much. And if you're like me and you like a lot of onions in your French onion, whether it be French onion soup, French onion chicken meatball for this, for this particular reason, then definitely add a lot of onions. It's almost like collard greens. When they break down, they break down. We're going to stir it on up. Now, here's the thing. Don't be alarmed if it seems like it's taking forever for your onions to caramelize. This process right here takes about, I want to say 15 to 20 minutes. But nevertheless, we're going to be patient. We're going to incorporate some of that butter throughout the onions. And once we're done mixing everything on up, we're just going to allow it to sit. And we're going to toss it around, obviously, from time to time. We're going to be incorporating pasta with this recipe as well. I'm going to take this time to work on draining our pasta. This pasta is hot. This is, just in case you're wondering, this is fettuccine pasta. But however, use any type of pasta, whether it be vermicelli, spaghetti, it doesn't matter. At this point in time, as you can see, our onions are perfectly caramelized. We're going to add some of my Cooking with Tammy all-purpose chicken seasoning. You could definitely add this seasoning to the meatballs as well. We're going to add our minced garlic to the mix, and we're just going to stir that in as well. We're going to cook the garlic until it becomes fragrant. We're going to add some fresh thyme to our onions. And no, I'm not going to add the thyme along with the stems in there, but instead I'm just going to extract the leaves from the stems. Once we get enough thyme in there, we're just going to stir that on up as well. Everything at this point in time is like, trust me, when I tell you, so fragrant. It smells absolutely delicious. It smells really good. We're also going to go in with some broth. Add that beef broth. Stir it on up really good. Quick tip, you don't have beef broth and no worries, but you do have, let's say, bouillon powder. Add some water to the bouillon powder. Combine it really well and boom, you're rocking out with beef broth. Our flame is on medium heat. Check out our meatballs. They are absolutely gorgeous. At this point in time, give it a quick taste, all right? But make sure you save some for the sauce. Yeah, sauce has reduced by half, and that's what we need. All right, we're going to re-add our meatballs back to the pan. Quick and easy, nothing complicated. Once we get all of the meatballs in the pan, we're going to take some of our delicious onion sauce and we're going to spoon it onto our meatballs. If your meatballs are not cooked all the way through, which I doubt, the steam and the gravy is definitely going to help to cook the meatballs even more. Not to mention, it's going to also rehydrate the meatballs and make them not only taste even better, but it's definitely going to make it nice and juicy as well. Spoon it on, spoon it on. All right, once we're done spooning on our gravy onto the meatballs, we're going to take the remaining Gruyere cheese, oh yes we are, and we're going to sprinkle it on top. Be sure to add a good amount. Cover it on down with the lid. Lower the flame to low, and we're going to allow the meatballs to pick up the flavor from the gravy, and we also want the cheese to melt onto the meatballs. When I tell you, once you raise that lid on up, you're going to garnish with some parsley. Our beautiful French onion chicken meatballs are done. Now, here's the thing. You can go ahead and enjoy it just like this, right? You could pair this recipe with anything. I know I get that question a lot. What are we going to pair it with? You could pair it with mashed potatoes, eat it by itself, pair it with rice, jasmine rice. It really doesn't matter. You can even turn this into like a French onion chicken meatball sub. Talk about a great idea, right? But we're going to pair it with pasta. So I went ahead and added my fettuccine, and as you can see, I'm just basically going to fold the pasta, get all of that sauce all throughout the pasta. We're going to fold the meatballs into the pasta. Just stir it on up really good and just keep folding. Once you're done, you're going to hit it off with, if you want to, let's say, maybe add some more cheese, you definitely can. But for the most part, we're just going to hit it off with some more parsley. And guess what, guys? We are done. Our French onion chicken meatball pasta recipe is done. Of course, you're going to taste it to see whether or not if you need to add maybe, let's say, a pinch of salt. And that's about it, guys. As always, I'm your girl cooking with Tammy. Definitely give this recipe a try. If you have any picky eaters in your household, including yourself, trust me, this is it right here. So delicious. Anyway, I'll definitely catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.